Hello, welcome to Todd Miller TV, joined here today with Mark Gonzales, who owns Signature Appraisals here in Las Vegas. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're in a hot market in Vegas. You're probably aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. Getting a lot of offers on properties, and sometimes they're cash, sometimes they're financing. Of course, you know when it's financing, the appraisal has to be done pretty much all the time, right?
Correct.
Okay. So here's a scenario. There was a sale 6 months ago, and it was $100,000. In the same subdivision, model match, 2 months later, there was one for $105,000. 2 months later, another model match in the same subdivision for $110,000. Now, 2 months later, we've got a property under contract for $115,000. So it just went $100,000, $105,000, $110,000, $115,000. How do you appraise that, knowing that 2 months ago the last sale was only at $110,000? How do we bridge that gap so this person that's getting a loan can get the house?
That would be called a time adjustment. We make a time adjustment if we can support that the market is increasing.
Okay.
And you can use time adjustments for decreasing markets as well. And then once you support that value with documentation, we can make, as I said, the time adjustment for the extra additional $5,000.
Okay. Are there like any standard limits you can use for percent increase or for time or whatever?
Not necessarily. It just needs to be supported.
So if you can prove it that every 2 months it increased $5,000, that this is kind of in line.
Right. And we also look at current listings, and we usually generally call the realtors that are listing and discuss what maybe they have their properties under contract for.
Do they ever tell you? Because I call them all the time, and they're like, "I ain't telling you. You'll find out when we close." That's what they tell me.
I generally find they tend to open to up to appraisers a little bit more than other realtors.
Okay.
And they usually don't have a problem talking about it with us.
Okay. Because they call me, and I tell them. When they say appraiser and I verify who they are, I don't have a problem letting them know, just because I know they're trying to get their work done and everything. But like another agent, I'm not going to tell them. Because then the seller, they may be the person writing the offer next time with their person.
Exactly.
Okay, so you said listings, using listings. How do you deal right now in this market when you have these short sale listings? And we'll use that same scenario. 100, 105, 110, 115, right? But then you see these $95,000 short sale listings that 8 months ago were listed. They're in under contract status. How do you deal with that, with a short sale listing that's really old at a really low, artificially low value?
Well, you have to understand what a short sale is, and the typical buyer is going to have to spend a lot more time waiting to move into that property.
Okay.
And so they generally tend to be lower sales, lower listings, and that's the benefit of waiting for that sale to close, the short sale to close, is that you're going to get it at a lower price.
Okay, does that hurt do you think that hurts the values, that all of a sudden the short sale closed at $95,000 and someone else is maybe paying $115,000?
No, you as an appraiser, you want to generally look at the entire market, not just one sale.
Okay.
So you look at maybe some of the REOs. Another thing that you look at is if the sale on the property is a arm's length transaction. Maybe they had purchased the property and renovated it.
Okay.
And modernized it, new rugs, new landscaping, new appliances. That could be in itself an entirely different market.
Okay.
And so you take that into consideration.
With that being said, for renovations, because you physically go in the houses and take pictures, so you know what they look like on the inside.
Right.
How much? Let's say you see granite and stainless steel appliances and really like hardwood floors and stuff that's really nice compared to what the neighborhood typically, you look at MLS pictures and see what the other houses look like, right? How do you deal with that as far as making adjustments?
Well, first of all, we're going to look for other properties in similar condition. Maybe it's an older neighborhood and people are revitalizing that area. And the market's willing to pay for that. So if we can demonstrate that with other sales, then absolutely, it's a secondary market that's looking for that in that neighborhood, and we appraise it with other similar properties.
Okay, very good. You've done thousands of appraisals.
Correct.
People they may not realize this, but they can just call you and hire you to do an appraisal.
Right.
Okay. That's typically what, $300 or so, $350?
Right.
Okay. How do they get in touch with you if they want to hire you?
They can reach me at 702-278-8840, and that's my direct number. They can reach me 7 days a week.
Awesome. Hey,
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Todd.
So that's my update for today, and hope to see you on another video. Thanks.